Hello, my nomies, and welcome back to the MT and me. So, had so much fun flying the drone around the last time we were together that, I was really tempted to get it out again today, but it's really too windy to fly the drone. Just not safe to fly that little critter when the wind is blowing like this. So, I think we need to get ourselves back on Pearl and maybe doing a little more with the engine today. So I've decided, I thought about maybe putting the, where are they? The fan belts on, because I've had them for a while. Got all three of them here. Brand new rubber for the front. But, it's still a little bit early for that. So we may hang on to those for just a little longer. Instead, I think we're going to stay inside here and work on the engine, and we're going to change something that's orange for something that's blue. Really. So in case you haven't figured out what's orange and what's blue, this is what's orange. Although they're awfully dirty. It's the old spark plug wires. And the blue ones are the new spark plug wires. And they're not dirty at all. And I got blue because, that's Mopar color. If you look at my engine, the valve covers and even the engine block itself, where it's not all greasy and dirty and worn down, is a beautiful Mopar blue. This isn't exactly Mopar blue, but it's the closest thing I could find. So we're going to go with that. Now, first thing right off the bat here is we have to determine what plugs are what wires go where. And I think that is my, obviously my coil plug, so it'll make that fit right in there. And we'll work out the others here in just a second. But if I was looking over my my purchase list, and let's see, what have we got? Actually, this is not the purchase list. This is the to-do list, isn't it? I still have repair ignition wiring, and that's really a part of this. So. And we still got, clean and replace the plugs and wiring. Okay, the plugs are on order. They were supposed to be here in time for this too, but we're still getting some shipment delays, so they're a little late. And we'll change them out next time. But I do have the plug wiring, so I want to get started with it. And that way, whenever the plugs come in, it's a simple matter of just swapping them out. So that'll take care of that. We still got to check the starter. That's prime on the list. Get that checked and get a battery. Once we get the starter checked and get it back on, my next step is going to be getting a battery so that we can start actually troubleshooting the electrical system and see how it works. And one other thing that I really want to do today is look back into the dash panel. If you remember, whenever we first took the panel out, we were trying to figure out what that fuel switch did and where that wiring went. And in the process of getting the dash instrument cluster out, I broke some of the pins in a little multi-pin connector that does a lot of the stuff like feeding the ammeter and the fuel gauge and stuff like that. Even supplies power to the lights that are in the panel that light up the dashboard at night. So I've got to repair that. I want to take another look at that to see exactly what I've got to repair. But before we do that, let's stay focused here. We've got the spark plugs, and while we're at it, I do have the purchase list here, and we can mark off plug wires and spark plugs, because although the spark plugs aren't here, they're on the way. I've got it on good official time that they will be here. Probably, knowing me, they'll probably get here like a day after I finish this video. That's the way it usually works. So we'll do that next time around. So that still leaves us radiator hoses, and here again I've shopped for them. I haven't actually ordered them, but that's in the near future as well. We'll get top and bottom radiator hoses. We can get those swapped out, and we can actually see about getting the radiator put back on, which means we'll have to put the fan belts back on the front and the fan as well. Remember the fan? We spray painted the fan. It looks really nice, and it's just waiting to go back on. So we'll see how that works out, okay? So in the meantime, there's still some other things we have to buy, but that's on down the road. For today, we've got spark plug wires anyway, and that is what we're going to swap out right now here on the MT and Me. So I took my new plug wires and kind of organized them here because they come in different lengths since it's different distances from the distributor to the various spark plugs. I have one that's long, so my longest run has got to be it. And I would imagine that's going to be the plug on the front right side from the distributor. I'm guessing that's probably the longest run. Front left would be the next, so maybe it'll be one of these. These three are approximately the same length. This one's a little bit longer. And then I've got four over here. Three of them are just about the same length, and one of them is just a little bit longer. So it's just going to be a matter of experimentation. Also, this kit included 2 coil wires. Now, the reason is it has a wire for a standard coil and distributor like this. If you have a distributor on a carbureted engine, that's just what they consider a plain old standard distributor. However, the newer fuel-injected engines have what's called an HEI distributor on them. And it's a little bit different, and it has a different kind of connection. Well, they also gave me a coil for that. Now, if you notice, all the other connections are going to be like this. The HEI connection is this. So it's just an extra wire to me. I'm not going to need it. I have a plain old distributor, and it's got identical connectors on it, and that'll connect the distributor to the coil. Okay, so that being said, I guess we start pulling these wires one by one so that I be sure I keep the numerical sequence the same. Because although I have that referenced in my my service manual and everything, I just as soon not have to sit here and figure out, you know, what number 1 cylinder and which connection it goes to on the distributor. Because if you mix that up, she's not going to run. Or at the very best, she will run very poorly. So you want to keep that straight. So we will do it wire by wire, one at a time. Yeah. And let's start with the longest one. Okay, the longest one is going to be this one right here. Let's get it out of the separator. And it goes to right here on the distributor. Well, first of all, this wire is a lot longer than that one, but not much. So I'm hoping I've made the right choice. Let's see. Let's get it on the spark plug. I'll worry about routing it later. Let's go ahead and plug it back into the distributor. All right. One down. And these are going to look nice. Okay. Well, let's just go sequentially here and take the next plug on this side. There. You can tell these are wearing out. Okay. And that goes to there. So, how about this one maybe? almost. Actually, I believe I can use one of the shorter ones here. Let's try this. No, I think the other one was better. Okay. All right. So we're going to go with this one. I realize that there's a very good chance once I get down to my final wire or two, I'm going to have to do some swapping because they just may not fit. But we will see what we will see. Okay. There's that one. I'm going to go ahead and get this coil connection off of here because it's kind of sort of in the way. We'll get the rest of these fitted. Okay. Now we have two more on this side, so let's go ahead and take care of them. Didn't realize I put these old plugs on so firmly. Okay. This is a shorty. Close enough. Not too concerned about getting the plugs on real firmly since I'm going to change the plugs next. Okay, and another short one here since we have a short run. Oh, it's almost exactly the same length. How about that? First one that's actually matched out almost perfectly. Not that that's really significant, but makes me feel good that I grabbed the right wire. Okay. So that's one side of the engine down. 4 wires left, 4 on the other side. Let's take care of them. Okay, we should be old hat at this by now. So let's start at the front, which I do remember this is actually the #1 cylinder on the engine, the front left. It goes right there. That's going to be our longest one here. Which one is, well, take your choice. They're about the same. This one's a millimeter longer, so we'll put it on. It's not quite as critical on this side because this entire side of the engine is a little bit closer to the distributor. The distributor's not quite in the middle, it's a little offset to the left. So that was just barely in there. Okay. I'm thinking maybe this one will go there as far as length goes, since it was next longest. Let's get our back two. Selection gets easier when you get down to just a few wires left. This side is hard to access because of that heat shield. I understand why it's there, and I'm glad it's there, but it does get in the way when it comes to servicing your spark plugs. And our final plug is of course going to be difficult to get out. There, plug wire. Not taking plugs out, just the wires. Here's number 8, or maybe it's number 7. I don't know. It's one or the other. And that, boys and girls, is a brand new set of plug wires on Pearl's beautiful engine. And like I said, they're not quite Mopar blue, but by golly, they're close enough. I may have to get a blue distributor cap just to kind of set it off too. We'll see. Although I have checked the distributor cap and rotor and guts, and I think they're doing okay. Oh, before I go any further, we do need to plug the coil in. Plug that in the coil. And that one goes in the middle. And there we are. Oh, they do look nice. Now the old orange wires were distinctive. I'll give you credit for that. And I'm sure when they were new, they really did look good as well. But they're not new anymore. They're not really orange anymore. And I like this blue. I debated when ordering wires. I could have gotten, I never did find orange, but I found red, and I thought, well, red's my favorite color, so that would be cool. And of course there's black. Black is nice, but it's so ordinary. And then I thought, blue. Let's do blue. Since the motor's blue, we'll give her blue plug wires. And that's exactly what we've done. And I like them. I want to point out, I have bagged up the old wires, and I'll hang on to them, because it never hurts to have a spare, and these are probably still functioning. The wires, unless they get an actual break, they don't necessarily quit working, but as they age, the resistance of the wire increases, and therefore that can cause some problems in getting the spark delivered, okay? So, and I should also point out that with the wires came a nice little package of insulating gel. This is a waterproof gel that's non-conductive. It says dielectric grease. That's what the technical name for it, dielectric grease, which means it is non-conductive and it helps to seal out moisture. This is what you put on your inside your boots, on the connections around the distributor, and also on each individual spark plug, just to help keep moisture out, because moisture is the enemy of electricity, as always. So there you have it. Nice new blue spark plug wires on Pearl. The spark plugs are coming next, and we should have a new ignition coil as well coming next. We'll put that on in the very near future. So one more step in the wiring is complete. We've got our spark plug wires done. Soon we'll have the plugs at ignition coil, and we've got the carburetor installed and hooked up. The vacuum hoses are done. Wow, we're just coming right along here. Radiator hoses will be ordered and installed. This is the old top radiator hose, so we'll be replacing it as well as the bottom one. And I'll check the heater hoses too. I'm not sure about their condition. They may need replacing as well. If so, no problem, we'll take care of it. So while we're here, we can update our list. Alright, we had clean and replace plugs and wiring. And like I said, the plugs technically are not replaced yet. We have cleaned the ones we have, and we're about to replace them. So I'm going to fudge a little bit and go ahead and mark that off, okay? Because that's right next on the to-do list. I like that. Repair or seal off vacuum leaks. Well, you may recall we did that a few weeks ago. And although we haven't tested to see if all the leaks are sealed off, we have repaired the vacuum hoses, and I think everything's going to work just fine. It appears that there are no open vacuum ports, except maybe for one that I'll have to do something about. So we'll look at that later. Ignition wiring, jury's still kind of out on that. What we did today, I guess, would technically qualify as part of that if you look at the distributor wiring and spark plugs. And what we've done under the hood, you may recall the little plug that goes into the electronic ignition control unit, repairing that. That was a big part right there. We've also put new battery cables in, so that's a big part of that as well. There's still a couple of wires that I've got to trace down that I want to check out. And I also am preparing to order a new ignition module, the control module, as well as a new voltage regulator and a new ballast resistor for the system as well. Here again, all of those items might be okay, but replacing them is not going to hurt. They're not terribly expensive, and they are readily available for this model. So I'm ordering them, going to replace them just to be on the safe side. We've got a purchase of a battery in the near future, and once we get the motor turned over, we'll be able to determine if the alternator is in good condition. If not, there again, that may be another candidate for replacement, but I'm not going to jump ahead and replace that unless it's absolutely necessary. We'll replace the voltage regulator, and if the alternator works, then if we're charging the battery, everything's good. So that'll all be checked out at a slightly later date. And of course, the other thing we need to do, we have the starter off. I still haven't gotten it checked because I've just been lazy. And I'll get that checked, and if it checks out, then we will put it back on Pearl and have it ready to go. If there's a problem there, we'll either have the starter rebuilt. We have a good starter shop right here in the town where I live. One of my old classmates runs it, as a matter of fact, so they can take care of that. I can do that or just buy a replacement, one or the other. So, more progress, more progress. And a couple more things off the list, at least as far as getting the engine running. As I've pointed out, that's kind of my focus here in the first part of the year, is to get her motor running, not necessarily to get out on the highway just yet, but have her ready to go. We get the engine running, and then we'll start focusing on some of these other things, like, well, we still got a lot of structural problems. We still got a leaky roof, and that's going to be the prime consideration next, getting the roof fixed, and then deciding what we're going to do about the outer and inner walls. So there's still a lot to do, but I'm pleased with the progress so far. Now, the one more thing I want to do today is to pull that dash panel control unit out and look behind it once again, just to refresh my own memory about what I tore up when I took it out before and what I'm going to have to do to fix it. Not sure how much of this you're going to be able to follow, but we're going to pull this out. This is the plug I'm talking about. There are 4 pins that stayed in it whenever I pulled it off the board. It goes right here. And hopefully you can see the places where those pins need to reattach. Now I can probably get them out of there. Getting them soldered back in place on the PC board, well, that might be another trick altogether. But you know what? I'm going to give it a try. Not right now, not today, but it's definitely something I can take a shot at. Now, the other option here is to find another 1977 Dodge van. This is a CB300, but a CB or a B300, probably a 200 or a 100 will all have the same instrument cluster. And if I can find one in a junkyard and pull the cluster out of that has still an intact connector, then maybe I can swap them out. That's the other option. I'll try fixing this one first, and we'll go from there. Pretty well slap myself for pulling those things out. But here again, I really didn't know what I was getting into whenever I pulled it out. Now I do. Hindsight's always 20/20, as they say. So we're going to set that back in place for now. And I'll start practicing up on my soldering skills. You've seen me do that in my day job, so maybe I can handle it. We'll see. It's just one more thing. So anyway, it's a good stopping point here for this week on the MT and Me. I want to thank you for joining me for this. We're putting some brand new beautiful blue wires on Pearl's 360 Dodge 3.8 V8 LA engine. A 3.8? It's a 360 V8 LA. And she's going to be running great before too terribly long. As always. So, anyway, thanks a lot for being here. Maybe it won't be as windy next time and we'll get a little more drone footage for you because I'm really anxious to play with my drone some more. Thanks again, Ree. Great gift. All right. Thanks to you for watching and for supporting us as we move into this new year together on the MT and Me. If you have not subscribed, shame on you. Become a Know Me and click that subscription button for me. You'll find it right down there below. You'll also find links to themtandme.com, a great informational website, and also a link to buy me a coffee if you'd like to help out with the Pearl Restoration Project. Okay, join us every Sunday morning right here. Give me a thumbs up on this video if you've enjoyed it, because that really helps the YouTube numbers and it helps them take notice of me. Be sure and like and share as well. Till next time around, thanks again. Love you, Know Me's. I'm Russ, and we will talk later.